This conference will now be recorded.
Right. Yeah. So we will be doing that, and then monitoring and capturing metrics part. What we will do is mainly we'll try to understand what all type of metrics and monitoring tools are required. Okay. Based on that, we will try to understand, right, like how what where all we need to focus, what type of metrics we need to collect, and how do you use AWS CloudWatch and all for our monitoring purposes. So we'll try to understand that. And Gremlin, obviously, we will see in stages, like we will try to understand Gremlin as a tool and how you set up the Gremlin for a host, for a container using Docker, and using for Kubernetes clusters. Because all these three have different procedures of setting up Gremlin. And attacks remain same though, but the procedures remain differ based on the components which you have or the application which you have. Okay, so we'll try to understand that. And also we will try to understand different chaos scenarios, like how to test a scenario like a liveness probe experiment, how to test a db, or how to test when you have how to test your alerts, what are the slos, slis. We'll try to understand all those concepts. Okay. And also then we'll do container and analysis. We'll do attacks on containers, attacks on Kubernetes clusters. Okay. Then finally, obviously, when we are doing all this, we need to understand automation also, because it's a need of this need of the market nowadays. The CI/CD pipelines. So we'll try to set up a CI/CD pipeline. We'll try to understand Jenkins basics, what's Jenkins, and how to set up a pipeline, chaos engineering pipeline using Jenkins. And even we will try to integrate Jmeter and Gremlin API together, because as I have seen, my majority of the students are from, what the audience we can say from, are from the performance background. So this becomes very useful for them how they can or like add the gremlin attacks or experiments into Jmeter. Okay, so using Jmeter they can use LoadRunner or any other tool also. It's not only restricted to Jmeter because it's APIs. So we'll try to understand that also. How do we do that? And yeah, obviously how you shift chaos to the left, because shift left is a very common word nowadays. Shift left is nothing but you are moving to the lower environments when you're testing and going to the higher environments as you progress. So how you do that? That was we'll see, and the future scope. So basically, this is how you will be covering the whole course into. So if I put in a nutshell, what all you'll be learning from the as you progress. Okay, you'll be learning extensively what are Kubernetes, what are Dockers, what are hosts, what is Gremlin tool, right? The tool you will be learning extensively, different types of attacks, like we have the latency, CPU, memory. What are these attacks are? Different types of scenarios, like because when you're doing some attack or when you're learning a scenario, you will also learn some inherent components, like for example, what's a liveness probe, and what are its significance? How do you test a liveness probe? How do you test the alerts in your system? So those things also. So if you see the cloud which we will be using extensively, it's AWS. So you can create one free trial account in AWS, or else you can use Google Cloud also. There is no cloud limitation. I will show you both the examples, like how you create a instance in Google Cloud and also AWS. So whatever cloud you choose, we can use that. Not a problem. Then as per the tool is concerned, the Gremlin we will be using, and you will get maybe like including the course. Above that, 15 days, I will give you access to this Gremlin tool, which is a pro license, which I have. You will be getting the access to this tool for around 45 days, I will say 45 to 2 months of time. And also you can also create a free trial account if you want separately, which will be again for only 15 days. But in pro version and free trial, the only difference is the targets will be only two in free trial, and for pro version, so currently I have 30 targets, which is more than enough. Even two is more enough, like because my demo everything will be like I will be showing, so that you can do it in the free trial account also. Okay, so you can use that. So that is the thing. Like I will be giving access to this pro license for around 2 months, so you can utilize that even for the POC and all. That is there. Yeah, and with respect to the materials, I will be giving lot of materials which I have collected over time. Um, Let me open that. Yeah. So there are different experiments. Okay, like for example, the liveness probe experiment. If you see, it speaks about like how you do the experiment. Different. So these materials I have created, which I will be sharing with you all once the course begins. So as today is a demo, once the course starts, I will be giving these materials to you all. Even there are PDFs, PPTs through which we will be covering the course. For example, this is the module 1, which is the introductory module where we try to understand the principles and all. Then we have the module 2, where we speak about extensively on different identifying the use cases, planning and all those related chapters, or we can say the syllabus will be covered here in the module 2. Module 3 is extensively on the tools, like for example, Gremlin, Docker on Kubernetes, then different the CI/CD pipeline APIs. Okay, so those will be covering in the module 3, and module 4 will be on the game days mainly, basically how you run your test in production, the different doubts which we have. Oh, like will I get chance to do in production? Will I be allowed to do in production? How to overcome those issues? And what all questions you need to answer to people when you're doing this? Even because generally nowadays chaos engineering doesn't happen in production. It happens in the lower environment, okay, where you don't have much of an issue. But as you move on from there to production, what are steps you need to do when, if at all, you are going to do in production? Okay, so those things we will try to learn how to develop a game day and all. We will also try to see some concepts like postmortem. Basically, postmortems are nothing but how you analyze your report, okay, and how you report. The reporting is also a very important factor, right? When you run an experiment. So what are the templates for that? Because it's a very new field for everyone, so everything is from scratch. So we will try to understand that. Okay, in the module 4. Yeah. So any questions, anyone till now? I can take up some questions. So basically, this course is very wide with respect to the new generation modules which we have. Like for example, if you see the Kubernetes or the Dockers, though you are working, many of you would be working on that. Still, there are some concepts which are not clear. Like for example, in Kubernetes, what are the liveness probes? Who are in DevOps, they might be good at that. But you may be in the testing domain. What is the liveness probe? What is a readiness probe? What are its main significance? Okay, like what are the configurations which you need to take care? Even when testing performance, okay, we can tune these components like the liveness probe, the readiness probe, but we generally don't focus on that. Okay, so those things also will be very clear for you from this course. Not only the chaos engineering, even those components or those architectures or those new generation models which you have. Okay, even the application, the microservices which what are the microservices, how you can uh, test your microservices, what are different attacks you can use for microservices, those things. Yeah, so any questions, anyone? Or else we can just move on
Yeah,
to the module 1.
Vaishnu, Rajshekhar here.
Yeah, Raj. Yeah, go ahead.
Am I audible? Am I clear first thing?
Yeah, yeah, it's little low, but that's fine. Yeah, you are audible. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
So when you
now it's
said
better.
you use Gremlin for attacks, right, and
Yeah,
experiments,
right.
and if it's a paid tool, in the course of our performance engineering, uh, so who will provide the licenses for this chaos or Gremlin to do attacks on production or Kubernetes cluster? Because these clusters are all used by the dev teams and DevOps most of the times,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
do we have a proper planning or timing where you kind of do an attack and bring down a service and see how fast it recovers without disrupting the other teams? So that's one part of the question. And the licensing part, if you want to use Gremlin other than the open source, so is it like you need to buy your own license to do this, or if the client is interested on chaos testing, will he sponsor the licenses for this and the time slot for this?
Yeah, yeah. So first, taking your first question, which is regarding like, so basically the access is obviously you will have to get. So for example, your organization, like the project, will already have the. Oh, Rashid left the call. I guess he dropped off. Yeah, Raja, you join back. Raja, you join back.
Yes, yes,
I'm
I
audible.
joined back. Sorry, it was an error. Yeah, can you repeat your answer,
No
please?
issues, no issues. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, see, whenever you have you in your organization applying Gremlin, there are two options for you. One is a free trial account, which they give you for 15 days, and if you ask them to extend, okay, maybe your POC is going on, they will extend it to 30 to 45 days also. And that is but restricted to only two targets. Okay, two targets means see, for the POC it is more than enough because you are showcasing how you will be doing your experiment, what is your tool reliability, the process, and all those things. For that, for that part of the POC, the free trial is more than enough. So you will get that. And for this current course which we have, I have a paid version of Gremlin, which is for 30 targets. So we will be using that, and I will add you all to that tool as a team member. You can use it for maybe during the course, obviously, and also after the course, maybe 15 to 20 days. Even I can extend it if you are really working on it and you are using it for some purpose. I can extend it for maybe 1 month also, not a problem. Just because when I hit the user limits, I will delete it because the batches come new people, so I just delete as required. So that's the thing. So as per the license is concerned, yes, in your organization also you'll have to buy when you're applying it because it's a paid tool, right? Ultimately, free trial you can use it for only POC, and you can do it for all on all targets also. Like for example, Kubernetes, Docker, everywhere you can use the free trial. There's no limitation of that in free trial. I'll be showing you that everything will be covered in the course from scratch. So no worries.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Vishnu, a small clarification. As we
Yeah.
see this Gremlin right now, they are using in the cloud infrastructures only. We can implement the same thing in the physical infrastructure also.
Yes, yes. See, basically, this question I get always like whether it can be applied to monolithic systems also, or is it only for the cloud? So, if you see it like, if I can quantify it, let's say you can do 90% or like, let's say 100% of the activity on cloud. On monolithic systems, it might reduce to 50 or 60. Okay, but so what I meant to say is the effectiveness to 100 is in on cloud, because the scenarios, if you take like let's say 10 scenarios are there, maybe 6 you can run on monolithic systems, but 4 you cannot run because it's mainly built for the cloud. Like for example, let's say service level attacks, like the microservices are there, maybe in monolithic systems you don't have that. Okay, so in that way you can put it, Mohan. Am I clear?
Oh, yes. And in
I,
terms of expense, how much the tool cost generally?
See, basically, it's based on what you require. So they have a very tailor-made solution now. Like even it's about the negotiations also. It keeps on changing. But I will say you can choose based on the targets. Like for example, for two targets you have the free trial. So if you want go for the organization version, let's say 5 to 10 targets. So actually, I can't say a correct number figure because it changes based on the organization. Even ours we can't
In
reveal
the
because yeah. It's
Based
because
on the
it keeps on
targets, the expense will be more. You are saying.
correct. Yes. Yeah, and but it's not very much costly like LoadRunner or it's very less than LoadRunner or Performance Center because it's a very new tool, right? So they haven't kept it very heavy pricing for that. But yeah, you have to pay. It's not that high.
Okay, one more question. As this
Yeah,
gremlin is used to only to attack the system, can we replicate the same behavior using freeware tools now? Because nowadays most of the companies are preferring freeware tools only. Does
correct.
we
Yes,
have
yes.
any
You can.
tool where we can?
Yeah, you can. So there is we are covering a tool called Chaos Toolkit. So if my screen is visible, you can. But the only problem with the open source tools is no other tools. Majorly, I'm saying there could be some tool which are like, for example, there is AWS FIS. But ultimately, so the all the open source tools need little bit of coding knowledge. Okay, for example, if you take Chaos Toolkit, Python knowledge you need to have. For AWS FIS also there are little bit of coding knowledge required to write that FIS to create that FIS code. So basically, that's where the open source tool becomes a little difficult for to adapt. Okay, because even the testers they need to learn that coding language to write a YAML file. For example, is the Chaos toolkit, and let's say I want to do an attack. For example, I want to do an attack for terminating a pod. Okay, so terminating a pod, if I see this is the YAML code which you need to write. Okay, so that's where it becomes a little tricky. But if you see the see Gremlin as such, it's very easy because you have GUIs, you have like you have APIs. There are different ways to generate the APIs from the GUI dashboard itself. So it becomes very user friendly. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and we will discuss. Like I have in module three, we have a clear comparison between tools, like how Gremlin and other 10 tools or 15 tools are there available in the market, how they can be used, what are their limitations or what are their pros and cons. We will discuss all that because obviously we need to know like what are if so, because if you are in this field, you need to know what are the tools available, their limitations. Yeah. Any other question? Nilima, Joseph, Neil, Shruti, Sabha.
No question.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's proceed then to
Sir, I
further.
have a question.
Yeah, Neil, go ahead.
So, sir, is there any must-have skills for to learn this tool or to be a SRE?
So see, yeah, to be an SRE, you need to have a development knowledge. But for to become a chaos engineer, okay. Uh, so see, so let's try to understand this in one clear way. First of all, chaos engineering as such, individually is nowadays not being applied. It's very rare case like you are being hired as a chaos engineer. Okay, but it's let's say you are a performance engineer or you're a DevOps engineer and you're applying for a job switch or you are in your organization also you want to try you want to grow. Okay, so DevOps engineers there are many, performance engineers there are many. So how will you differentiate yourself? How will you distinguish yourself in an interview or in your organization? Okay, so for that that only nowadays chaos engineering is used. Okay, so let's say even like last week we were taking an interview. Out of some 10 candidates, there was one candidate who was having like he had just written in his resume that he has worked on Gremlin. Okay, and that was a sweet spot why he was hired. Okay, just by that word Gremlin, and he had run few attacks. He was not at all aware of chaos engineering concepts and all that much, but still he was okay to run some attacks, some basic attacks on a host, that too, not on a Kubernetes or containers. So, but with that itself, he got an edge over other candidates. So basically, chaos engineering is more sort of like that sweet spot which you will create in your resume, okay, where you will have a spotlight over you. And the second thing, so yeah, coming to this. So if you take this as a example, so the prerequisites is basically there is you need to know if you are in the testing domain, you will have the testing to easy to grasp. Like you can it's easy for you to grasp how the testing will happen and all those stuff. Otherwise, anyways, we will be covering those things, so it won't be hard for you. though if you are from DevOps or other fields. Only if you are from development domain, like you are already a developer, then this course might be very small for you, because only the Gremlin part and the chaos tech part would be new for you. The other things might be, you will feel like already you know, like for example, some coding and all those stuff. So even no need to worry about the coding, because what all is required I will be providing. As you see, there is the total, like everything I have documented. Okay, for example, if you see the commands also, everything you have, like I will be giving all this to you. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the coding also. There's nothing required. Only that testing mentality might help. Okay, because to understand how the testing happens and all. Rest is like, and to be, yeah, now to the main question. So to become an SRE, now see, chaos engineering is one field. Now that's one part of SRE. Okay, so with only chaos engineering, you cannot become SRE. For SRE, you need to have a little bit of development knowledge also, some coding language. Okay, so one front end and one back end. So let's say you need to know how to write a YAML file. You need to know one front end language, let's say Python or Java. Okay, maybe one development language, the front end language like some JS, some Angular JS or somewhere, some language like that, and also some deployment knowledge. Like over, if you are from DevOps already, you know that, like how you deploy and all. So that also would be required with the chaos engineering to become an SRE. Okay. Is it clear, Neil?
Yeah, sure, sir. Thanks. Thanks
Yeah.
for the details.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, it will be really interesting for you as a career, like especially if you're looking for a switch and all, or even to grow in your organization to little, because see there is a lot of competition nowadays inside the organization also. So if you want to create an edge over others, you need to have an extra skill, okay, which will be taken as an add-on. So that's what this course will provide you. Now, I will not say you will jump directly to SRE from this course, because for SRE there is furthermore little bit knowledge required, okay, and especially the development knowledge. But obviously, whatever you are currently, from that position you will grow. That can be made sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So any other question?
And it can be explored with like Azure Cloud as well, right?
No, no cloud limitations, because see whatever we are doing here is just we need two instances. You can create that two instances on any cloud. Okay, so you can work on the demos in any cloud, and there is no cloud limitation as such, because Gremlin works with any cloud, because it's just you need to have a machine which is working on Ubuntu or Windows. That's all.
Sure.
Basically, Linux or Windows.
Hey Vishnu, Nilima here. Good
Yeah,
morning.
hi Nilima.
Uh,
Yeah, good.
uh, I just want to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah,
Gremlin provides two certifications, right? By this
correct.
course, can we able to clear those two certifications?
That's a very good question, and you pointed out, because I had left that point. Every time by the end of the course, because generally this course is around 20 hours, but last batch it went to 25 hours, because there were a lot of queries from the audience, so the time shot up to 25. Sometimes it happens, but 20 hours is a standard time which we follow, and by the 20 hours, maybe the 19th hour or 20th hour, we complete that certification, that Gremlin certification, which is the initial certification. The pro certification, once this course is done, you do some hands-on and all, you can easily clear the pro one also. It's not that tough. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing. So we will be covering one certification, we'll be clearing that certification. Like we'll be doing it during the course. And it will be very easy for you once the course is done. Though now if you do, it might look like maybe little bit of surfing the net and all is required to answer those questions, but once you finish this course you will feel like everything is like already there in the course we have discussed. Okay. So because I have taken care of that.
Okay. Regarding the second pro certification to will it take? I mean, if we need any help regarding that, will you be able to do that?
Yeah, surely. So basically, whenever after the course, also you can always contact me through WhatsApp for any issues or any queries. Though I might not be able to every time come on to a call or come on to a video call, but through WhatsApp or through chat, I will resolve those queries. But if that query is not resolvable through chat, I can come online also if you require sometimes. Even when you're
Yeah.
applying in your project, you have some issues. Yeah,
Yeah. And the second question is, you mentioned about AWS FIS,
yeah.
and are you planning anything, any one session regarding that and Azure Chaos
Uh,
Studio?
Yeah, so I can't commit Nilima, frankly, because this 20 hours I have seen like it shoots to 25 sometimes due to the vast content which we are covering. Okay, because we have Jenkins, we have Kubernetes, we have Docker. So there are different, because even those also require some basic explanations also, because we can't directly do chaos engineering without knowing the basics. So what happens is sometimes the chaos toolkit and Gremlin itself, it takes some time. Let's see if time permits. I can show maybe an half an hour session quickly on that, but not committing. Yeah, but I will note this
It
point for you.
Yeah, it would be great for like DevOps people if you
Yeah.
kind of implemented it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, thank you, Vishnu. That's all from my side.
Yeah. Yeah. So Joseph, any questions from you? Because you are from DevOps, so you'll have some different questions.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Joseph. Right. So if no more questions, can we move forward?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So let's then quickly let's see a few things. Okay. So since it's a demo today, let's try to see. So this is the how the dashboard looks like. Okay, a Gremlin dashboard. When you land on, I'll be explaining these very extensively. As you know, it's a 20-hour course, so we have to cover all this very deeply. But just giving a quick understanding how the tool looks like and all. So if you see, there are different options here. You can create attacks here. There are different attacks. Okay, so based on the what different host or container Kubernetes, whatever you have, there are different attacks available. So for example, if you choose a Kubernetes, you have different deployment. You can attack a deployment, you can apply a pod. We'll try to understand what are pods, what are deployments, and all those. So no worries. Then all you can choose, let's say I can choose a Gremlin. So basically it's the attack. Okay, so CPU, there is disk, the IO, memory attacks. We'll try to learn all this. There are different types of attacks based on resource, state, and network. Okay, so what are its significance? What are different scenarios you do use this attack for? For example, what is a real world scenario where these attacks are used for? Okay, for example, the CPU attack or the disk attack, how you can correlate with the real world. Okay, so those we will try to see, and different attributes related to that attack also we will try to see as we progress. And in Gremlin, you have different options like scheduling and setting up an agent. We will try to see how you set up an agent in Gremlin. So these are the agents which are already there. Previous batch students are also, if you see, they're trying it out using this tool. So yeah, so we will be using this, even how to create scenarios, how to create golden signals, how to create a game day. So those things we will see. And yeah, so now coming to the module one. So let's try to see a bit on module one. Right. So now how, like, if someone asks you a question, okay, so what led to the rise of chaos engineering? Like, so see, you have already so many testing practices. There are so many traditional testing practices, like performance is there is security testing, there is automation testing, penetration testing. There are a number of testings available. Okay, so now why the sudden requirement of chaos engineering came into picture? Okay, so if we point out the main reason, uh, the chaos engineering as such mainly happened. Okay, see, as Let me open the whiteboard. I hope my screen is visible to all, right?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, right. So now if you see, what are distributed systems? Let's try to understand that. Okay, so distributed systems are nothing but, for example, any systems where, uh, let's say, there like, see, initially there were monolithic systems and distributed. Let's say if you distribute into to these two categories. Okay, so in distributed systems you generally have terminologies like microservice, cloud, and all. Okay, so now with this advent of these type of systems, okay, especially the microservice based architecture and all, what happened was the complexity has increased. Now if you try to see the application which we are going to use, okay, which is basically the sock shop application for our demo. Okay, for our demo we'll be using this application, which is a sock shop, basically a e-commerce store it is. Okay, so if I go to application design, so basically this is the design of that application. Okay, so let me copy this. So this is what the application which we are going to use. Okay, this is a sock shop application. So if you see the architecture as such, okay, first of all, there are different microservices here. If you see the order microservice, payment, user, catalog, cart, shipping, right? And there is a queue called RabbitMQ. Then there is then there are different DBs like the MySQL DB, MongoDB, right? And even the languages. See, there's some on Go, and then on some are on Java.NET Core, and some are, the front end is on Node.js. So you are able to visualize the complexity which the distributed systems have introduced, right? See, the languages are also different, the DBs are different, so there's no like I wouldn't say you can create microservices which are totally independent from each other. Independent means like they are totally acting like independent entities, and ultimately later they are communicating with each other, right? So this led to a lot of complexity, okay, because though it reduced our hard work, or let's say the work, because the development could happen faster because these are acting independently. All these microservices, we will see this in detail as we progress. But for now, just I'm giving an overview of how the distributed systems led to this complexity. Okay, so this indirectly added some complexities also, and some failures which will occur, okay, in the real world. Okay, so to test those things, the already available traditional testing domains were incapable means, say, like for some test cases. Okay, and for that only the chaos engineering field was came into picture. Okay, because to, like, let's say there are 10 test cases, you can test or 8 using the other testing practices, but there were 2 3 which were not, which using those testing practices we couldn't. Okay, especially looking into the recovery of your system. Okay, so that's where chaos engineering came into picture. So that's where, so complex distributed systems gave rise to chaos engineering. That is one thing. Then the microservice and the cloud, because if you see the Chaos Monkey, which is the first chaos engineering tool, and it's created that, it was created by when Netflix was moving on to AWS. So cloud is one more a reason, okay, why we have this uh, yeah, chaos engineering. It came into picture. Okay, it's like a vaccine. Now, why I'm calling it like a vaccine? Because it's a precautionary measure rather than. So basically, here we are not saying that the the issue will occur and we will resolve, but rather we will not allow that issue to occur. Okay, so that's where it's like a vaccine. Okay? It's a precaution which we are taking, and obviously outages are very expensive. So our main focus is to reduce those outages which are happening. Okay, so these are the reasons why chaos engineering became very uh, as a necessity nowadays. Okay. Yeah, so if you speak about the history of chaos engineering, first Netflix implemented it in their organization. They created Chaos Monkey. Okay, then from Chaos Monkey, they moved on to different tools like Chaos Gorilla, Chaos Kong, and they gave all of them together name as Simian Army. Okay. And from Simian Army, then what happened was they pushed this Chaos Monkey on GitHub. Like they made it an open source tool. Okay. And from there, everyone started applying chaos engineering and it became a industry standard nowadays. Okay. So we do it. So they were that Netflix were the first people who implemented chaos engineering. And if you see the Gremlin founder also, he was a um, employee in Netflix, and this was happening. So what is chaos engineering mainly? Okay, so if you try to understand that, we will see these things, okay, in the next class. So not going ahead from here more, since it's a small session. So I can take some questions now from, like, if any, from the chaos engineering or what we do and all those. Anyone?
Sir, we will deploy any application uh, to
Correct.
uh, to to check the
Yeah.
behavior after
Yeah.
doing the
So see, this is the application which we are choosing, which we are going to use. Okay, it's a sock shop application. Let me see. Currently, I haven't deployed it, so I'm not able to show you that application. But this is the architecture. It's a GitHub repo of that application, Sockshop. Let me see if someone has some demo. Let's see. Yeah. So this is, anyways, not. This is the application. I will show you how. Basically, it's an e-commerce application with catalog, cart, and all. There are different microservices there. If you see the application architecture, it is like this. There is a front end, there's order microservice, payment, user, catalog, cart, and shipping. And we will be deploying this. And on this only, we will be doing our chaos engineering, like all attacks and all, creating the scenarios and all. No? On this, we will be doing.
yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. Because what happens after each batch, I delete that instances just to avoid the cost. So once the application is deployed, now currently only one instance is there. I will create again two instances and I will deploy that as we progress. Because I will be showing you that also how you deploy and all. Because when you are doing some demo from your side, you need to know, right, like how you deploy and all. So that also I'll be showing everything.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. So any other questions? Anyone?
And
Apart from,
sir, sorry, sir,
yeah, go ahead,
it generates any reports like we made some attacks, right? So it generates any report after that, that what is the impact of the attacks we are triggering
Yeah,
or
so
making.
that's a good question. So basically, basic level log you will get from Gremlin, but detailed logs you will generate from the machines which you are. Basically, I will teach you how to pick up the logs from the machines, especially if you are working with Kubernetes, how to use kubectl commands to get the logs and all different kubectl commands. And also, we will be working with a monitoring tool called Datadog that we will be connecting with our application. And we will try to understand, we will try to see how you can monitor your application using Datadog. How you can generate a dashboard or create a report and all.
Okay, so that part will also be included in this course,
Correct.
right?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
correct. Datadog we will be using. Yeah,
sure. Thanks, sir.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Sabha, go ahead.
yeah. So, is there any other alternative tools or like competitors for Gremlin?
So paid tool as such, there is only Gremlin, and AWS FI is obviously you should have an AWS account. It's a pay per use.
Mhm.
It's not like a pro license, like you buy a license, but it's pay per use. And there could be some other cloud tools also. Like for example, I've heard of VMware. There is one tool. I haven't used it, but they have some chaos tool. But it's a paper use, so all cloud things will be paper use. But standalone licensing only for chaos a tool, it's only Gremlin now, if I know. Yeah. And obviously nowadays the world is very fast. So when I'm speaking this, some tool might come. Okay, so I'm not. But yeah, Gremlin is the industry leader now in the paid one. Okay, yeah, because frankly, like now the world is moving so fast. Like I guess like every 10 days or 5 days, some new programming language is coming. It's becoming very chaotic. So, but yeah, obviously the traditional and the brands remain brands, so they won't change. Yeah. So any other
Vishnu,
questions? Yeah, Nilima.
uh,
Yeah.
uh, instead of Datadog, can we use Prometheus or RealK? Will it be a complex one?
Yeah, so basically why I chose Datadog was from the first batch, okay, which I started Chaos on. And there, due to some free trial issues and all, we landed on Datadog. And now changing it because it will be difficult because the syllabus is all revolving around these things, right? So if I change even one thing, then I will have to work on it, change the demo, everything. So it becomes difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, doing
And it becomes very
experiments.
similar if you use Neuralink, AppDynamics, any tool, no, it will be similar. Okay, there won't be any much of a difference. It's just the tool, but the fundamental remains same. What you need to collect and all. Yeah.
Okay. While doing experiments, do we get any alerts or something like that?
Yes, yes. We have a separate scenario to test the alerts because as a chaos engineer, I say this to everyone because mainly people look into the test cases, but mainly the test cases which you start with is the alerts. Okay, as a chaos engineer, you need to test the alerts. You need to test the liveness probe of your microservices. It's not just attacks, right? You just go and attack a microservice and you try. No, not that. You need to test the alerts also, whether the alerts are coming properly because alerts play a vital role, especially when there are incidents, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Yes.
Uh, Hi, Isha.
Yeah. Yeah. Indu. Good.
Are you covering code level attacks in this course, Vishnu? Like
Yeah. So.
we are tweaking the codes. Yeah.
Yeah, so code level, I'm not going that deep into, but we will be seeing um, the log level, basically to debug the logs using the code, but not the code level because here the main focus is non-functional, uh,
Okay.
not going that deep into code.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Got it. Vishnu. Thank you.
Krishna.
Yeah, Raja, good.
So, can we call this chaos engineering as an emerging kind of specialty or a skill set that
Yeah.
will be
Mm,
prevalent in the future where there is a requirement for the clients to provide a government license and do the attacks and predict how the production recovers from a failure kind of thing
correct.
in the
Yes.
future at least.
Yes, yes. Not in the future, still, Raja. Basically, see, I will just say maybe take it like a year or maximum 1.5 year to 2 year, 2 years. You will see chaos engineering becomes a mainstream testing. Okay, because what is happening nowadays is first of all the main reason behind that is things are more faster compared to 10 years back. Okay, because whatever technology is coming now, it's being implemented very fast because people are running behind agile and the waterfall is gone. So any new thing is coming, it's being implemented, and if any, and chaos engineering helps you in that incremental implementation. Basically, if you want to apply a new technology, you need a testing to test that, and chaos engineering is that testing. Okay, so for example, if you want to change the db, if you want to change your coding language, if you want to, so you want to test those things, chaos engineering can only do. Okay, so that type of testing, like to test those technologies whether they can be put into production or not. Okay, so obviously 1 to 2 years max it will be in the mainstream testing. Yeah, Raja dropped off again. I guess maybe some network issues. Yeah, so that's it. So basically, chaos engineering is the need of, I will say, it will become the mainstream, and obviously no one can stop that, because nowadays also if you see, it's around, let's say 4 years after Gremlin has become mainstream, but it has become a very big requirement. Even if you see the projects which are applying that, if it's a big project, like if they have the like let's say a team of, let's say, 100, or including all, okay, the development, or testing and all, including everyone, they have a team of 50, above 50 also, or around 100, they are implementing chaos, okay, because it's a requirement. And performance engineers are the, and the DevOps people, DevOps engineers also, also the failover testing guys, okay, they are the people who are looked into first, whether they know chaos engineering or not. Obviously it will be a requirement later on, and you will be pioneers for that.
Right. Yeah.
Is
Yeah. Thank you.
chaos
Sorry.
engineering not part of performance testing? Should we consider that as a separate?
Yeah, it's a separate thing because the objectives are different, right? In performance, it's load and stability which you are focusing on, but here in chaos engineering, it is mainly the recovery and user experience, right? So there are two different objectives. So you cannot merge both, but can be done together. Together means like the tools are different, but a performance engineer can easily understand the concepts and the tools and all. Okay, how to do it, because it's both are non-functional. Yeah,
So, sir, can it be come under HADR testing?
yeah. You, so I can't say no. There is a difference, because as I said, it's the objective which is different here. In HADR, basically what happens is, if you take the testing, okay, um, if I remember, the HADR testing is mainly focused on the disaster recovery, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So what happens is, in chaos engineering, it's not the disaster recovery as such, even the real time events, right? Not only disaster, right? So in production, you are getting incidents, right? So how do you get that incidents and how to solve that? Okay, and that incident shouldn't happen in future. That's the main focus, and the recovery, right? That's the main point here. It's not that failure won't happen, but how fast your system is recovering without affecting the user. So we'll be covering all the scenarios related to that. So disaster recovery is one of that, I will say. Like it's a subset of chaos engineering, but not the only thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So will you be sharing the what you are going to cover in the course syllabus in the WhatsApp or something so that we can take a look?
I already covered. I think maybe I joined
Yeah,
late, but
sorry.
I will share
Yeah.
this link. Yeah, share this link. Yeah. So we were covering, like, from the introduction, we will be moving on to the different experiments and monitoring side, like what all you need to collect and all, the Gremlin tool, and the different scenarios which you will be running the attacks on. Then the database testing. Then we have automating the chaos using Jenkins, like how you can, we'll understand Jenkins. We will try to automate our experiments using Jenkins. Yeah, I will share this link, or else I can put in the chat itself now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Vishnu, one last question from my side.
Yes, Raja, go ahead.
Uh, when we master the skill of cache engineering, and let's say there is a project for 6 months, okay,
Yeah.
performance engineering project for 6 months, and we have a team, and the
Mhm.
client is also good. So let's
Yeah.
assume that the client is giving a kind of a license for a Gremlin, or we buy it and he reimburses it. So
Yeah.
having said that, we have a tool in hand.
Yeah.
So is it
Mhm.
only
Yeah.
like a one-time activity that we do distraction or kind of experiments and bring down the system and see the recovery, or is it a timely process that we keep on, doing this activity, and how relevant it is doing once in 6 months, or probably say once in 10 days, or what are you trying to really look at
Got it. Mhm.
doing? Yeah,
Yeah.
you got a question?
Mhm. Yes. 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 Yeah. So see, in our organization, we are doing it like a sprint. Okay, 2 weeks. We have every 2 weeks there are it's sort of chaos engineering activities come and go. Okay, there are regression test cases which we run in CI/CD pipeline, and also there are other than which are not regression, which are new test cases, attacks and all, which we do other than that. Okay, so it's more basically bi-weekly. We can say every 2 weeks we have the reporting, we have the tests, we do it. And also if something is going new into production, it becomes very critical to test it in chaos as a chaos engineer. Okay, we don't put it in production without doing chaos engineering activity on that. So as if you see the recurrence, okay, it's very much similar to performance. Okay, if you have a performance test you're doing, you can do chaos engineering on that in that cycle. Okay, for example,
So,
if
so
it's three
okay,
months cycle, yeah. Yes,
I understand that basically you're doing this in agile model, right? So as the development is
correct,
progressing along with performance testing engineering, you're also including
correct,
chaos, kind of experiments in the sprints, because
yes, correct,
there may be a lot of microservices and codes added and different components of the
yeah,
system, out of the product being built added into the system
yes.
every sprint, and
Mhm.
so this also follows along with that. That's what you say, right?
Correct. Yes, yes, correct.
Yeah, got it, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, then. It's almost 9. We can stop then today. If no more questions.
So sir, timing would be same for actual sessions, right?
Yeah, timing would be same. There won't be any difference. It will be 8 to 9, but sometimes it might some topics like let's say if I'm taking Kubernetes or somewhere where I can't stop in between. Maybe it might go to 9:15 or 9 IST. Sometimes, okay, I will inform that also if it's going 1.5 hours. But mostly it will be 1 hour sessions. Yeah, 8 to 9 IST.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah.
So when are you planning to start the course?
So course will start probably by maybe 27th Friday or 30th Monday. Tomorrow there won't be a session as it's a Republic Day.
Okay, so will you allow us some time to pay the fees because it's a month end, and how does that
Yeah,
work in
yeah.
case?
So yeah, no issues. Yeah, so that you can speak to Anita and Kumar. They are handling that part. Generally, I don't look into that part. You can ask for like how you want to. Yeah, those things you can
Yeah.
plan with them. Yeah.
So okay, do we have those their names, or do we have them in our WhatsApp group, Anita and
Yes,
Kumar?
yes, they are there in the WhatsApp group. I will ask them to guide you. Okay, not issue.
Yeah, yeah. Just ask them to drop a high message to the group members saying that for any fee kind of contact, just speak to them.
Yeah, you morning person would have dropped the meeting link and all, no meeting details. The same
Okay.
person you can reply back. You can reply back.
All right. Okay. That's coming from a
Yeah.
okay number, right?
Yes, yes. Correct.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good, Vishnu. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all and hoping to meet you all in the next session. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
Have a good day and happy Republic Day to all.
Thank you. Wish you the same.
Thank you. You too,
Thank
Vishnu.
you,
Thank you.
Vishnu. Wish you the
Before
same.